Hey friends, Beth Harding here, your certified life coach, here to help you toss suffering to the curb and enjoy your life for good. All right, today let's talk about you. More specifically, the story you are creating for yourself. Have you ever seen the movie Stranger Than Fiction? It came out a long time ago. And basically, it's actor Will Ferrell. He plays a character named Harold Crick. And Harold Crick has a pretty boring life in most regards. He's an IRS agent, and most people in the movie hate him because, he's walking around auditing people. He lives alone, he eats alone. His life is just very ordinary until he hears a voice that is narrating his life as though he's a character in his own life. And this voice, it isn't his voice though, because the voice, first of all, was a woman and she had this British accent. And she had an incredible vocabulary and a way of describing Harold's life that Harold, had never been able to do himself. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. I truly love this movie. You can find it on Netflix, and I've watched it many, many times. The whole premise of the movie is that there's this voice narrating Harold's life. And Harold begins noticing the voice one day, and it really wakes him up. He becomes really curious of, what is this? Like, who is narrating my life? What is this all about? Then the voice one day, truly stops Harold in his tracks, because the voice talks about his imminent death. And this, it freaks Harold out because he didn't want to die. And the voice, had been right about everything in his life. It had predicted things and said things that no one could have ever known or predicted. So because the voice told him about this, he knew oh no, this means I'm really going to die. And this put Harold on a search for who is this person writing this story. Somehow I've gotten into someone's story and they're narrating my life, because he saw that they held the power of what was happening to Harold, like what Harold experienced. And this is so very similar to how we are writing our own stories. The narrator of what's happening in our own lives is our own brain. You are talking to yourself all day. And it's not in a narrating sort of way, although that would be pretty hilarious. And it's also not in a hearing voices kind of way. But your brain takes in information and creates thoughts and beliefs based on that information. So your brain picks and chooses what's important and what isn't. And all day long, it produces thoughts that most of us aren't even aware of. And truthfully, this isn't a problem until you are living a story you don't necessarily want. It's a story you no longer are enjoying. Your own story is holding you hostage to what you truly want for yourself. A dream maybe you have in your heart, a goal you desire, or maybe it's just a calling for more. And without knowing our thoughts, we live as though there is someone or something outside of ourselves narrating our life. Our brain is in charge and it makes the decisions for us. And this is all done subconsciously, but what this means is we become a victim to our own mind. We're just a victim to life and what's thrown before us. And here's the deal. We have two parts of our mind. You have your subconscious or primitive mind, and then we also have our prefrontal cortex. And the beauty of being a human is we can think about our thinking. And this is done in that prefrontal cortex. It's the part of ourselves that can change our thinking. It's the part that can observe our thoughts. It can eavesdrop on our thoughts. And then we can begin to really question what we're thinking. The prefrontal cortex allows you to reprogram what you've learned and change it. Literally, you can relearn or unlearn what you've already learned. Our subconscious mind, on the other hand, is that part of ourselves that gets developed at a very early age. And basically, we just take in what information is needed in order to survive, and it just wants to keep running on that. It's very primitive in that it's not evolved. It's the part of you that really just wants to keep you safe, keep you warm, and doesn't want to take risk. What do you want the story of your life to be? So where do you want to take yourself? How do you want to feel? And what do you want to create? The narrator of your story is going to be you on purpose when you're using your prefrontal cortex, or the narrator of your story is you subconsciously using the programs you have been given by society, family, and culture from your birth. But either way, your brain's the one running the show. But you get to direct the story. You can change the script. You can even look at the past script, the earlier chapters in your life, and you can retell the story in a way that suits you today. So you can't change the facts or what happened, but you can change how you think and feel about it today by narrating the story with your prefrontal cortex. You are the most powerful being in your life. You get to be the Harold Crick, and you get to be the narrator. So narrate on purpose. Own that lovely responsibility. And to do this, you're going to have to learn to manage your mind. You have to become aware of what you're thinking. It's almost as if you were playing Sims, but Sims is your actual life. So rather than it being just a character, you realize you get to make the decisions for what this life is going to look like, what your life is going to look like. You get to write the story you want. So, if you are ready to begin writing your own story on purpose, then you should join me on a one-on-one call. It's totally free, and you can sign up at www.lifecoachwithbeth.com. Let's create the story you want. Let's create the story on purpose. Let's create joy. Have a fabulous week, friends. I will see you next time. Bye.